Welcome to the Change Energizer Hot Seat Podcast, the place where leaders are dropped into the hot seat to open up about high-stake wins and reveal the trust X factor behind their triumph. I'm your host, Scott Carley, Trust Energizer. I believe the confidence people have in the way you show up, your character, and your expertise is the real game changer. When trust is high, people don't just perform, they pull off legendary Super Bowl wins. Today, I'm taking you to Texas A&M for the Texas Tourism Alliance Summer College. It's led by their Executive Director, Erica Bell, President Jennifer Rouse, tourism and CEO directors from all over the state come to learn cutting-edge strategies to raise the bar on helping tourists make memories they will never forget. So join me live as I take them through, can I trust you? The silent question every tourist is asking. Thanks for joining us.
When I think about trust, I think about tourism, I've been on both sides. Everybody here has been a tourist, right?
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then now you're on the inside of tourism, and you're having to make the magic happen for people. And so, that's what we're talking about. I love the session before me, and I'm sure a lot of other sessions you're having that are helping you to make that work for them. And I want to share with you a few things based on the trust credit score that I think could help you. Before they visit, before they spend, the brain is asking one question, and it is, can I trust you? If I sign up for this, if I lay my money down, is it going to give me everything that I hoped that it would? As, everything in the other time is going to live up to what it said. And what my friend's been telling me about, is that going to live up to what it said? And so let's just kind of go through that, see how all that works. So the 5 signals tourists are scanning for. And if you look in the notes, there should be information that helps us walk through all of that. And up here, I've kind of broken it down, but you guys get on this next page so that you can walk with me, us walk through this together. And let's talk about the first area. So when people are looking at you, they're looking at your vibe. They're looking at the vibe of the tourism that you're representing in your city. And the moment they walk in your door, they start feeling it. Is that right? The moment they go to your website, they start feeling your vibe. And the moment they interact with the people in your office, they start feeling that vibe. And so we want to be conscious about that. And what I'd like for you to do as we go through this, I'd like for you to think of either your big Super Bowl event or another event that you're working on right now. And you don't have it all together, but it's something that you really want to turn into, maybe a signature, something that you're offering that is in town and you really want to ramp it up. Either way, I just want you to start thinking about it. And in table discussions, I want us to, have some conversations about that. And I'm going to give us plenty of time to do it. So the first one is your vibe. And here, how does this place make me feel? When I walk in, here. And, this is great, whether it's the event, like your office or whatever it is. And here's the message we want to send. You belong here. We want you to feel welcome, feel comfortable, and feel at home. Have you ever walked into an office and when you did, when somebody looked up from the desk sitting down, and it's like you felt like an intruder? Well, I'm sorry, should I go back out? Have you ever felt like that? I felt like that. I'm sorry to say, I've probably many people feeling like that. I'm having a bad day. Things aren't going great. Somebody walks in the door. What do you want? How can we help? Right? We have to be intentional about that stuff. That stuff just doesn't happen. This past weekend, my wife and I went down to Huntsville. My daughter and her husband lived there. And So she was having a children with me though. Found out I'm going to be a grandfather, a grandmother. A little excited. She's having a boy, and so that's pretty cool. But we went to church with her, and so it was really cool. We get to this church that's held at the university in one of their big roads, and they've been there forever. Anyway, when I walk in, there are people holding signs. Welcome, glad you're here. Well, can you just say that? No, they want to be more intentional. And they're smiling, are you happy? Notify your face. And notify your staff that we're happy and things are good. So, tourists scan websites, social media. You just heard all of this from the previous speaker. Photos, videos, friendliness of locals, cleanliness and appearance. Now, when somebody walks into a restroom, what is the first thing they smell?
Is it clean?
Yeah, in a restroom. Maybe you've heard about something that's called Buc-ee's. Have you heard of Buc-ee's? The old corner store, 17 places in the Texas. You walk into the restroom, man, those things, they smell so clean. Oxymoron. Is lemon just the ingredient of the earth? And if you smell lemon, you know that it is, surgically clean. Then everything is great. Is that right? Okay, well, it's not surgically clean, but lemon makes you think that it is. But little stuff like that, what is the vibe? But the vibe also is another thing. Yeah, there's a big deal. My generation, or the older people, is moving off the planet. Literally. All of my brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles, they're all gone. I'm the only last surviving dinosaur of the Carley family. And but they're all gone. And a new generation is here. That's y'all. Y'all are here. Your bye. Don't say this about bye. And the way you communicate your bye, not the same way I communicate my bye. And so we have to just be very conscious of that, because I did hear earlier some comments about QR codes and maps and all of that from the previous session. I'm telling you, there's just a whole bunch of people that wouldn't know what to do with an app if you gave it to them, because they're so addicted, and this is what they know. This is all that they know. And the vibe that it presents when it comes on makes a big difference. Is that right? Yeah, it's great still to have some paper stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's some people that want that, but you need to think at what age level, what demographic, what level wants those things. So that's what I want you to do. You're big, super, all Indy 500. I want you to talk about it at GQ. What vibe is it sending, or do you want to see it? And I really like what was said there. We said it this way. Are you reaching for families with kids? Are you reaching for couples, middle-aged couples, or seniors? I just moved into a brand new 55 and older active adult community. My wife just barely got us in. And so I live out there, and we love it. Now I have I have two grandkids, one on the way. And so we love our grandkids. And the grandkids can come to our house. They can come to our hot tub in the backyard. They can play cornhole. They can do everything they want. But nobody under 19 can come to our pool, our facilities house, any of our activities, nothing. If you are under 19 years of age, you can't be there. And we really like because we don't have to worry about floaties in the pool. We don't have to worry about kids crying and kids screaming and all. We love it until they're ours. And then we bring them to our hot tub and we dump them under when they scream. They come back up and scream. You think I'm kidding?
I'm weird now.
Yeah. So I want you to think about the vibe, some of what you learned. Talk to your table about the vibe of that Indy 500 event that you have, and what kind of vibe are you trying to send, and do you think that they'll respond to? So on the mark, get set, go. Okay, so we have a table that's volunteered. Can you believe that? A table that volunteered to come out, sort of, volunteered on how it worked out. Volunteered to come up about the vibe. So come on down to the hot seat. It's going to be 1 or 2 Ooh, how many? This is a great place with you here. Showcase. All right, tell us about the vibe of your Indy 500 or event. Tell us what you learned about all that.
So our Indy 500, I'm from the city of Madisonville. We have the Mushroom Festival. It's every year in October. And we have Monterey Mushroom that is in Madisonville. And it is one of the biggest mushroom producers in the United States. So we were kind of talking about what kind of demographic we bring with that. And it's all of them. We have the Kids Zone that's located by the wine stands. And then we also have a car show. So that brings in the seniors as well. But it's a fine line with the mushrooms being the psychedelic type mushrooms or just the mushrooms you eat, because we are a very small town conservative community where we have to kind of watch exactly what vendors we're bringing in, because we do want that mushroom, aesthetic to come in, but we also don't want it to be a little bit too much for some of our locals because they will be playing. And yeah.
So that's a really great point. And that point is you have to figure out, what are we going to do with this vibe that we're unsure about? Well, why are we unsure about it? And it's not just Texas, but the whole country. Different states are passing different laws about that. That kind of change is something that you really do have to be conscious of. So what are some things to consider about that when you said, we're a small town, real conservative values? Have you noticed that some towns change their vibe over time? Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's kind of like when you brought up the George now. I feel like we just went there for a round table, and I feel that as well. Like they're kind of leaning in more towards that as their flips their bombs.
Yeah. So when I moved to Austin in 2003, Georgetown, I was up there quite a bit, and they were very conservative. I mean, they were very, very conservative town. But I noticed over the last 10 years that they have changed. They're not the conservative town, don't have the, I won't say those things are gone, but they are, there's a definite shift. You go downtown Georgetown, anybody here from Georgetown? No? Okay, we go downtown Georgetown. I mean, they have built all kinds of venues for people to go and do stuff. That stuff didn't used to be there. Everything was just around the squares. But anyway, it's opened up a lot. And so we just have to keep that in mind. And here's something that I would invite y'all all to consider. You don't need to think about just right now. You need to think about 5 years from now. Who is going to be the buying people 5 years from now who's going to be visiting your town? And start working now to develop things that people 5 years from now are going to say, man, this is right up our alley. We like that. And change is inevitable. My brand is a Change Energizer. Change is inevitable. But here's a phrase that I'm going to invite you to consider. And that's that phrase. I'd invite you to consider, let's try something and see how it goes. Because let's try something is not the same as we're going to make a change and install something. But let's try something helps crack the ice in either direction of what you're trying to do. What do you think?
Check.
Oh, he checks. Okay, any other comments?
No.
All right, let's give a round of applause. Okay, that was your vibe. Your vibe is very important. All right, let's go to the next one, your motives. So motives, tourists are looking at my motives. Do you care about me or just my money? And so, it's true, we see people walk in and, there's a dollar sign on their forehead and which one's a spender here. We can tell who's going to make she is or he is or some of the kids are. They're going to make seafood. So what is the brain looking for? We want you to have a great experience, even if it doesn't maximize our revenues. We want you to come here and have a great time. It can't be, we want you to come here so that we can make tons of money. But here's the deal. When people feel good about something, what do? They buy into it. If somebody likes something, somebody trusts something, then what do? They want more of it. When trust is high, is the supply. When trust is low, hesitation, ghosting, and slowing down. And you see there. So when people get the sense, and look, folks, it could be the littlest thing that says, by the way, here's a free map of our area. Free, organized, they are changed. What? Change is inevitable. Yeah. Whatever it is, though, but the point is, if you do something that is a bonus that they didn't expect, then what message does that send? That sends a message that you really want me to have a good time, not just spend more money with you. All right, so at your tables, talk about that. Your motives. Do you care about money? Authentic recommendations. Honest communication, insider tips, transparent information, genuinely helpful service. I'm from Austin. I've never eaten at Franklin's Barbecue. Anybody here from Austin? Okay, you eat at Franklin's Barbecue.
No.
Okay. I'm not standing in three hours in line to eat at Franklin's Barbecue. I'm sure it's great, but if somebody asks you what's the best barbecue place to go to in Austin, I'm going to tell them to relax because I don't have to stand in line for 3 hours to eat some of the best ribs in Central Texas. So that's really being honest about some things. Does that mean we're not going to advertise for Franklin's? Are you kidding? Yeah, they're an icon in Texas. Go stand in line 3 hours. Tell me how it went. All right, so talk about that. Talk about your motives and your intentions as a tourism office. Ladies and gentlemen, with clear motives and why they're going to do the right thing, boundaries and attention. Have a seat. And you are Desiree, what did you learn about motives?
We talked about making people feel good just because we want them to feel good, not because we want them to buy something or do something. So the example that I gave was I had an older couple. I'm from Beaumont, CBB, the right side of Texas. Texas friendly, buying fun. But we talked about an older couple that got off the highway because there was a wreck. Our Beaumont is split by I-10. Yep. And our CBB is right off the highway, literally a block off the highway. And there was a very bad accident. A truck's cherry picker took down one of the highway signs and it gridlocked the highway. So an older couple got off. They needed to use the restroom. And they said, they came in and my wife just needs treat. Cool. And he said, what is there to do down here? So I'm like, hey, there's a sandwich shop. We have all this. And he said, oh, then you piqued my interest with sandwich shop. I don't have any vested interest in that sandwich shop, but I told him they have the best chocolate cake in the city. Mm-hmm. So you're looking for something sweet to tide you over while you're waiting, go visit Chuck's. And I said, if you want to burn time while they're trying to get that highway cleaned up, do a self-guided mural tour. We have a mural festival every year, and it just passes every March. Do a self-guided mural tour. Go look at some of the murals downtown while you wait for the highway to open back up. And he said, oh, we didn't know that. So I gave them my mural map. Again, not just because I want them to go to swim with the alligators or because I want them to spend money or buy my swag. They left with 14 postcards and some free stickers. I didn't want to give them anything, but I wanted their experience that was in Beaumont to be a memorable experience. And like we talked about at the table, when you have a situation like that, people leave and they talk about that. They talk about how you made them feel. they talk about to other people, I got a wreck happened in Beaumont. We got held up for 2 hours, but we stopped, and the lady at the CBP was really nice. Well, I hope they said I was nice. But the lady at the CBP was really nice, and I got this map, and she told me where to get chocolate cake, which was amazing. How do you make them feel?
Wait a minute, that cake, was that Mississippi mud pie? Was that Texas yellow cake with chocolate icing? What kind of cake was it?
It is chocolate on chocolate cake. It is 2 layers, and the layers are about 3 inches thick. And it's at a place called Chuck's Sandwich Shop, which has been open over 50 years, owned by the same family. Best chocolate cake in the city, little mom and pop shop, and they're not even open all week. So, right? But it's amazing. So, just how you make them feel. What can you offer them that doesn't feel like they're being sold something? I hate feeling like I'm being sold something. So what can you offer me that makes you want to come back to you or to where you are? What's your motive? Why are you treating like this? Like, who sent you?
Thank you. So don't go anywhere. One of the things that I'm hearing, I don't know if you're hearing, but what I'm hearing, and I've heard from a lot of you already, is you're in love with your city. You're in love with some details about your city. There are some places that, Connor's Pizza, in downtown Austin, Condors, I think that's what it's called. I think it's gone now. And it has quite a story behind it. I am in love with Austin, and I'm trying to get in love with Liberty Hill as I'm finding some places to go up there. But when you're in love with your city, your motives come in hot.
Yeah.
And so, that is a trust accelerator, finding places you're in love with that meet some of the criteria of families, couples, and seniors, so that when you share it, people read that signal. Hole in the wall places that somebody told me about a place, I'm not even sure that it's real, but have you ever heard of Blue Hole up in the Amarillo area? Is that you've heard of it? It's a swimming thing? Yeah. Lived in Lubbock, and I've never heard of it. I would have up there and check it out. This person was telling me how much they love.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Let's give our hands. Okay, so we got a vibe and our motive. Now let's talk about your core values. And so people are picking up on your core values, and your city puts off core values. Your tourism puts off core values. The variety of places that you recommend put off core values. They're asking this question: what you see is what you'll get. Who we are, who we say we are, and we live it every day. Our city, your city, whatever it is, has a reputation. Now, I want to tell you, you can be intentional about what you want that reputation to be. And so sometimes you can promote the things that, are important to you and the core values that you have. So, what does this destination stand for? Where we live in an era right now where people are so conscious of what does this stand for? Well, just put it out there. Put it out there. And, whatever demographic that you're trying to reach, put it out there about what you represent. And that is, we live in a great place. We don't care who you voted for, but we do care what kind of experience you're going to leave with, because you came here and experienced. People heard a lot of things about Texas, but they need to hear more about all the beautiful places that we have for people to come experience, not just see. So at your table, we'll talk about core values. What are some core values that you're sending out? Come on down, right there. One. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome Juan. He's been talking about core values. What does this destination stand for? And what you see is what you get. It is Blue Bell all the way to the bottom of the bucket in Brenham. And if you what I'm talking about, that was I'm talking about. Go ahead.
We'll talk about it. So one of the examples that we talked at our table is our community stakeholders and how they actually talk about what to do within our destination. So one example we talked about is people coming to Brenham and asking what is there to do. And many times the response being, there is nothing to do. and how do you actually educate your community stakeholders to actually talk about the things that there actually is to do. But because you live there for so long, maybe it feels like there's nothing to do there. So Bluebell came up in the conversation, and one of the examples that was shared was that tour has changed over time to become from how long.
There used to be a tour. There's no tour anymore.
Come on up here, jump on down. Come up here, jump on down. No, have a seat, no. Stand right behind you. Hold on to the chair. I need the heat from this chair to get all the.
When somebody comes to Brenham today, I sit in the visitor center and I see this every day. People will come in, will say, "Oh, what have you done so far?" Number one answer, we went to Bluebell. It's the driver of tourism in our community, right? And then they'll say, "Well, we expected to be there for a lot longer than we were. What else is there to do here?" There's some obvious disappointment. So back in the day, they used to have a full tour. You could take a guided tour that talked about how they make the ice cream, the process of it, the history of Bluebell, and how they used to. The first refrigerated truck in the country was done by Bluebell. Don't have it anymore. They have scaled back. They have an observation platform, and they have a visitor center where you can get a $1 scoop of ice cream. That's the big thing now. They don't even show the movie anymore. They used to have like a movie on where you could like watch things. They don't even show that anymore. So it's a pretty big disappointment for a lot of the visitors because that's the draw. And that's for a lot of our community stakeholders. They're kind of aware that Bluebell is a big driver of tourism. They're over Bluebell because they've lived with it their entire lives. And when you ask them, "Hey, what is there to do here?" their response is, "Well, there's not much." And that's, what most of our travelers, their first experience when they stop somewhere and they're like, "Hey, where should I go to eat?" "Well, there's not very many restaurants here. They're not very good." Why would I want to stay here, right? Or your value is that you have nothing. There is no value here. So anyway.
What do you think the number one problem is? A lack of
Education.
education. So it's interesting, I'm a tourist. I don't know if you could tell. I'm a tourist. And I go to sometimes the front desk at the hotel. Is there any place to eat around here? And this is what I get a lot of time while I live here.
And
I drive 20 minutes in and I don't live here. So what can I do with somebody like that? What can't you do with somebody like that? Can you still educate people who don't live there that there are things to do here? Yeah.
when I was in Lee, I went to each hotel that did it and educated our staff what they're suited. It's clean. It's just their audience will fit. There's a bar cart in Manhattan. We're like, oh, we have a bar. He's like, yeah, and shoot a giant, huge bar cart. But that's why I reached Charlotte. Granted, town is just less hotels, but went to each hotel with them. And here's what we do. Here's what we have. Here's your visitor map. Here's your map. And Charlotte said,
What's he doing? Yeah,
and full that piece of that part of the it's Friday. Yeah, it was. It was educating them and making sure that they knew. Because and the other thing with Fort Hood, of course, military and some of the rest of those things, they change out constantly. Yeah. And they did the county, they still do it for years. And get a table there and any people communicating about what there is to you.
Yeah, that's good. Somebody else out there can raise. Yes.
So we have a program that called Dallas to be certified, which isn't quarterly or bi-annually. We haven't done the last couple of years because of the limit thing. But we ask our hoteliers to send 1 to 2 staff members, and we take them to all of the attraction. We give them contacts for the attractions in case they also need more pamphlets or anything like that. But we take them around to all the major attractions, all the getting chance, and then at the end of the day, they get a certificate, and so that they know that they're certified. They go back to, they tell the rest of their staff, but that's kind of how we train our receptionists and things like that.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we have a SA Champs. It's an online platform for attractions, hoteliers, culinary, and even Uber drivers. Sign up for it in sanctuary.com. It's a free program for them. And they go through the history of San Antonio,
culinary trails, all the attractions, and it's like a 10-course thing at the end of it. They get SA Chant certified. Then we have quarterly SA Chant meetups, different locations that we put on, and all the champs come together, talk about stuff. And what we found is when we hosted IPW in 2023, all the attendees that got into the Ubers, I mean, those drivers and the transportation workers were just feeding them things to do constantly because they had all the up-to-date information, plus the history of the walk, Alamo, missions, everything. It's all good.
I like that. That's good.
Baby Waffles, I just called that's our tourism master program, and I actually took that they chance on to kind of like get inspiration and kind of how y'all do that. I feel like we've only got a first class so far, but people like debating about how like we have to tell people and people are can read off like kind of stuff, like learn so much and now what they said that they like it's like give them the information they learned that class to this person that kind of like they can like confidently speak to others now. They don't feel like unsure about the things.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So you guys could have a Brennan.
Yeah.
We've also seen destination valuable resident programs where they actually invite like specific events for residents to be visitors, because one of the things that also enter research is that now individuals want to meet locals and do local experiences, and what better way to invite your locals and give them a discount for whatever event that you're inviting them to. And that's worked out really well. I think there's several destinations that have like their tourism office guide, and then they have like their local guide where they basically say to their residents on a monthly basis.
Yeah. I love all of these suggestions, and all of these suggestions are about being proactive, about educating people and energizing. That's what I would say, energizing people to make recommendations. You know, something that comes to my mind is even if there was a kind of incentive that when you went to maybe all the hotels and you tried to get them involved and create some kind of process, and then come back 6 months later and say, we have some awards to give out because this hotel has recommended more people to these events. Now, you're going to have to do some record keeping about all of that. But if you create some incentive, then that hotel gets a reputation for that kind of stuff. And everybody it's a win-win, 100% all the way around. So
I can tell you some stories that'll make your toes curl and just frustrate the hell out of you about how, like, what we do is not towards our lodging partners, it's our downtown business. If we do an award for our downtown businesses, we just ignore our lodging partners completely. And just to say, first thing I did, day 3, week 1, is start building an ambassador program, because that's critical. And that's obviously a huge drop.
And they're communicating core values. Let's give them a hand. Way to go. Okay, so, this is, tourists are looking for this. They are scanning. 5 signals tourists are scanning for. The next one is your expertise. Your expertise. Can you deliver the experience? So we thought through the details so you don't have to. Your time matters, so we've got it covered. So when people come to your office, or whatever you set up, these satellite offices and these hotel lobbies or whatever. And by the way, there are some people that are older than 55 that are bored, crazy, out of their mind, that would love to sit down at a satellite office in a hotel or some other place and tell people a cool place to go, and they do it for free because they're bored out of their mind. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there. But I just want you to talk among yourself. So your expertise, what makes you an expert? How can you send the message of the places that you're recommending that you're an expert in that? I've stood in the sun for 3 hours in front of this barbecue. I felt the sweat dripping down in my face. So that barbecue tastes really good. Whatever it is, you're expert. How can you show people you're experts in recommending the places based on the 3 different divisions: families, couples, and seniors? So let me just throw this in there. Facts tell, stories sell. Stories about a family like she told. If there was a truck accident, they got off the highway, and this is what they did. Stories like that, but nobody can argue it. All right, so visit among yourselves.
Airport problem.
This could be our volunteer table. All right, come on down. Welcome to the hot seat. We want to hear about the expertise you travel, why you are a subject matter expert. So tell us about it.
Okay, well, I'm Visit Nacogdoches, and I'm going to talk about it. We are the oldest town in Texas, if you did not know. So our biggest driving force is people coming to learn about our history. And within the first week of starting my job, which I lived there for 4 years of my life, I went to CUNY Boston, graduated, fell in love with Nacogdoches, stayed there. I had to learn about the history. And the amount of things that I learned was insane. We have an older gentleman who works full-time. He's our visitor coordinator. He grew up and born and raised in Nacogdoches. He knows the history. And we were told, just listen to him. Listen to how he's interacting with visitors. Hear the stories he's telling. Hear the questions they're asking. And that is how I gained expertise in knowing about the history. And then I'll have visitors now come in and I'll storytell. I'll tell them about the legends that we have and the Spanish missions that date back to 1716. And they're like, wow, you're knowledgeable. And I'm like, well, it's kind of part of my job. But if you sell a story, kind of like you were saying, tell stories about, if Mike is out of the office, can you share a story about him growing up here? People love that kind of stuff. They love to hear that. And that's kind of a big driving force for us. And so I would say knowing about the history kind of helps too. And we're also the garden capital of Texas, specifically for our azalea gardens that are on the campus. People will come in and I will say I'm still having to learn about, I'm not big on flowers or plants or that, but I'm trying my best to get more knowledgeable because people ask questions. And I think you learning from other people and just even experiencing it yourself is going to be able to have you talk about how much you love it. And people love stories. They love to hear it.
Yeah, people are interested in details. There's a word I'd like to invite you to remove from your vocabulary. Matter of fact, if I hear you say it while I'm here after I've made this statement, I'll probably tuck my hat, show my head or something. But there is a word that when the brain hears it, it puts the brain to sleep. And the brain quits paying attention. And it can be replaced with another word that wakes the brain up and makes it say, tell me more. And the word that I don't ever want to hear you say again as long as you live is, well, basically, that is a horrific word. I hate that word. Because when you say, basically, we're a really great town, the brain's already gone to sleep. But when you say specifically, we're a really great town, we're the oldest town in the state of Texas. Now, you didn't say basically. I'm not picking on you. But when you find something specifically that you can talk about, people have attention to details. And details are what make the magic happen. So some of the expertise that I love up here, this place was easy to navigate. Helpful information. Well-organized events. Now, you may be shaking your head saying, I don't know about that. But if they thought they were well-organized events, that's good. Customer service, accessibility and amenities, smooth, stress-free experience. All of those things just make a world of difference. Many times we have to point people here and there to go pick up some details. But if we can share a little bit of the detail and point them, then it makes it feel like we're more of an expert about our own town and our own city. And so way to go. Let's give our hand. Okay, the last thing that we've got on this board is your receipts. And your receipts are show me proof. Show me proof that this is a good place to come to and that I'm going to love being here. Don't take our word for it. Listen to the thousands who have already visited. So anytime you have testimonies or videos or anything written that's on your website, and you know how you go into some restaurants and there's a picture of a country western singer or a rock star, and then they got something autographed. Those sort of things do make a difference. People are watching that. We just went to a huge sports event in the world. Does anybody know what it was?
NBA Finals.
NBA Finals. There's another one. Pardon?
It's
The what?
World Cup.
The World Cup. But yes. the World Cup. And when people see those kind of things, and somehow or another we have a connection to all of that, you know, it makes it different. But they have a connection to what's going on. Pictures, and autographs. People that have been there tell stories. So for a few more minutes, your receipts. What kind of receipts are guests seeing that influence them to say, well, it's like you grab a book here, let's go do this. Google right up anything. What are your receipts? Okay, come on down. Who's gonna come on down on the hot seat and tell us about receipts? Come on down, Texas and I know it's not exactly the right color, but have a seat, Joey. We work at some. So tell us about receipts, man. What do you got to show for yourself?
Yeah, so at our table, I was talking about visualization, specifically for social media, but also occasionally for web scraping. We use Sprout, and part of it is it has a social listening component, which is really great because it can break down the general sentiment of the audience from social web. It talks about good, bad, and ugly. It kind of breaks it down in like 3 groups, which is great. It talks about keywords that you can find. You can feed it into feed keywords, kind of similar to using an AI platform, which is fantastic.
I don't know that.
You can generally kind of search overall sentiment of publication, or you could do things to do in the summer, or things to do at the beach, or you can do things for kids, or kind of all the things that we're all looking for. My job is to sit in like web and social media, so that's what I focus on. But it's been really great because it can show trends like during the spring. People are really kind of sleepy on football season a little bit, but then during the summer and fall, obviously football season is ramping up. So you'll start seeing a lot more pictures. You'll start seeing a lot more positivity, and so that's the honest.
Yeah, thank you. I think that is very good. And I heard something from another table about where the most visited park or something in the state of Texas. What was it?
We have the highest rating on TripAdvisor.
The highest rating on TripAdvisor, State Park in Abilene, Texas. Here's the deal. What makes you popular is what you put out there.
That's right.
And so just find something, you know, we just thought the river walk was next to going on the moon, you know. We just thought it was the greatest thing on the planet. Why? Because they advertise the crazy out of it. So find something and put it out there, and you'll just be imagining you're turning on the magnet. You're lining it up, and it draws people to it. So way to go. Let's give it a big round of applause.
So we're having a discussion here, like that's a lot of nostalgia, that generational travel. That's people that went as a kid. He went as a kid, the kids, you know, and so on and so forth. Like some of those attractions, Abilene State Park's an example. It's been there forever. Some of those attractions become so iconic. The advertising doesn't need to be there because it's almost like a rite of passage. There's a them to go there to experience some of those games. So that to us, well, at least to me, that's the biggest receipt, is generational return travelers. You get so good 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 2 years ago, they want to come back. But then as a destination, you got to have something fresh if you're giving them. I actually have a small early market that can be difficult, but I thank my stars every day that I'm blessed to have a destination I do. But the evolution, I think, continues to add to that generational, because we don't get rid of the Riverwalk. The Alamo doesn't evolve into this VR place, and if they stay the same, but if you're at, they still don't.
Yeah.
Congeniality is down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have in this handout, I've got a worksheet, and we're not going to do it right now, but I am hopefully inspired that you will take this to your next meeting when you're planning something out. And among the 16 jillion questions you ask, you'll ask, okay, here's the event, your buy. How does this place make me feel? Your motives. Do you care about me or just my money? Your core values. What does this destination do for us? Your expertise. Can you deliver this experience? So I hope that you will use that as a way to just kind of guide you in creating some of your events and just helping people to participate and get involved in it. So there's a tourism ROI, return on experience. That's what you were just talking about. You want to create that. And it does take work. It takes work from the vendors, but it takes work from you too. Now, I'm a Texan, I don't know if you've heard, and I'm leaving this great state. We've got a lot of people who come into this state, and they're not from Texas. And we have bumper stickers that we're very proud of that said, don't, whatever, you're from your state to our state. You're a Texan now. And so that is a big deal. We are we stand out around the world. When people say, where are you from? And you're in Europe and you say, you don't say the United States. You say, I'm from Texas. That's right. And people that I know everywhere, I've got a bunch of people that's 55 and older. They've never, been around this kind of stuff. In my cul-de-sac, we're going to shoot off $1,000 worth of fireworks. We are outside the seat. I've actually run them. And we're going to shoot off fireworks. Some of these people bought some sprinklers and sparklers. And I said, what's that? I said, no, we shoot stuff that goes up 300 feet in the air and explodes. And that's what we're going to do. Y'all do that all the time. On New Year's Eve, yeah, you're in Texas now. And they talk about that. They're never experiencing this before. I don't think you realize how iconic your cities are. So make them iconic. It's up to you to feed the energy and the fuel and energize your city. And it's up to you to make that happen. I would energize Bluebell. I'm happy to help you energize Bluebell because I am more faithful follower of Bluebell ice cream. So, you put the energy into it, you're just going to be amazed at the return on experience. I like to go around the table and just table by table or person by person. I want to know what you got out of today. I want to know what you learned today about trust that is going to change the vocabulary. So tell me what you learned, and we'll start with this table item. Anybody got something in your mind?
I think that it's important to make our visitors feel their value just like we want them to see our value. They have to know that they're welcome, not just because they're an average spend amount or a hit in a bed, that we actually genuinely want them at our destination, in our city, having fun so that they can, just have a great experience and want to come back.
Good. Thank you. All right. Next, everybody doesn't have to say something. I like so people. Yes, ma'am.
I like the fact that you first started off with us kind of looking at the vibe of ourselves, who we're sitting next to, and also who we hopefully are having on our team first, and made us look deeply to our vibe and things like that. Because how are you supposed to know what vibe can get off to other people? Do you know your own vibe first? It's like, how do you even market your company to other people and want them to come back if you don't even know why you're there in person? In a way, ish. So I like that you started and you lead it into the bigger picture.
Good. That worked. Yes, ma'am.
I feel like right there, more time you invest in your city, the learning that you can do, and you can show that to people, they're going to invest more time in your city, so they might let that stagnate, and they'll trust you more know about your place. Instead of being I don't go to the radio, and I'm not so you can invest your own time, people invest their time. And so, for what? Amen.
Yes, thank you. I love that. All right. Yes.
I love how we each trust each other and making sure that we're here just the Texas. Texas is not an app. Texas is huge inside our stage. But we're here just to let people know what is this particular city. And I what other things you don't know about that I tell you about. So I let that we each trust each other and we're all there when we're chilling. We're all in that.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Anybody from this table?
I'll probably say similar is just really taking a closer look on how we show up or how we show up. Looking at workforce that we've been understand the vibe and what we're doing off the day sometimes. In a lot of moments we're just on the go or we're occupied by a different outside of work, then it affects how whatever we turn out.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
I'll just expand on ones and say that, it only takes a few minutes to ruin a bucket, to lose a bucket of that trust. And you can have a bad day and just be going through the motions and sitting here meeting like this. And all of a sudden the vibe is ruined and you've degraded your value, your trust value, without even intending to. It's just a constant reminder that you got to put on the face of your organization every day.
Yes. Yeah, we have to. Anybody else? All right, great. Well, I want to thank you for paying attention. You look like you were paying attention. Cool thing. You weren't paying attention. You did a great job. And thank you for being here. I love my state. I love working with people that are helping to make our state be the best place on the planet. So thank you very much for coming.